Sam Drazin. I'm the executive director and founder of Changing Perspectives. We are an educational nonprofit organization, and we partner with schools around the country to help schools think about how they can create more inclusive and equitable learning environments for all students. Social emotional learning is about dialogue. It's about having conversation. It's about self-reflection. So it's one thing to give a child a math worksheet and say, hey, your teacher said you need to do this multiplication worksheet, and you give it to them and you go and you make dinner, you're doing your own work. Social emotional learning is kind of a different scenario. We want to make sure that, parents are carving out, a set time every day where they're doing social emotional learning activities. So, 15 or 20 minutes a day, it doesn't need to be more than that. But rather than giving your child the worksheet and having them sit at the kitchen island by themselves, you sitting at the kitchen island with them and saying, okay, this is our 15, 20 minutes where we're both doing this social emotional learning activity together, because this is going to help both of us. And I think expressing vulnerability is also hugely important, because if we want kids to be able to identify and articulate their emotions, we as adults need to model that first. Obviously, we need to do that in a mature and sensible way, but being able to do that is really important. So really, I've been talking to a lot of different parents and really suggesting that, you carve out a set time every day, build it into your routine, that we're going to do social emotional learning, that you're doing it together with your child, that you're engaging. If you can get your whole family to do it, even better. The more minds, the better, to share those experiences and have those conversations and that dialogue. And then also to not be afraid as adults to, express or show that vulnerability and articulate what you're wrestling with this situation. There's a lot of different things that parents and children can do to develop those social emotional learning skills. One thing that I would recommend is picking kind of a theme for the week and making one theme for the whole week. So if the theme for the week is recognizing emotions or identifying emotions, every day you're going to do an activity around that. So by picking a theme a week and then having very kind of specific and structured activities that go along with that, that'll just help to keep us really focused and narrow. In terms of what some of the activities are, a really simple activity is to, create a collage with your child about who we are as people. Sometimes before we get to the real deep or heightened emotional state, let's just start by stepping back and doing a little basic reflection. Who am I? So that could be, getting magazines and cutting out pictures and gluing them on, or going onto Google and printing out pictures and gluing them on, and just creating a collage of who am I? What makes me unique? My visible differences as well as my invisible differences. That could be having kids create a movie through iMovie or another platform, and creating a little movie about who they are, or a slideshow. So that's a really kind of basic thing. Another thing to think about, another piece of social emotional learning, is the idea of empathy, or understanding someone else's perspective in a given situation. And I think one really great and simple activity is to have your child reach out to friends and family and do some interviewing, whether that's through FaceTime or Zoom or on the telephone or just through text or Messenger, and have them interview some different people about how they're coping with the current situation that we're in. That helps with communication skills, whether that's written or oral. It can link to kind of data collection and evaluation, but really it's about having those conversations with your child. So, sitting down with your child and, saying, well, what did Aunt Sally say to your questions? And having that conversation and helping your child understand that not everybody's perspective is the same in any given situation. And this is an example of that. One of the other reasons why I really like the theme for the week is it allows parents to really think about throughout the week what they're focused on. So you might be doing something in your 15-minute activity at 8 o'clock in the morning, let's say, but there might be things that happen over the course of the day in your house where you can bring it back to that activity and say, hey, remember when, I can see you're feeling really upset right now. Remember when we talked about X, Y, or Z? So it's a way to bring it back. And I would really encourage, not that families need to turn their whole house into a classroom with bulletin boards and chart paper and all of that, but it is a great idea to put up some visual cues and create a little poster or put it on your refrigerator. This week's theme was understanding our emotions. Next week's theme is empathy. Also providing parents with the autonomy to pick and choose. Use what's going to support you and your family during this time. If you have a really big family with lots of kids, problem solving might need to be something you need to focus on more, because there could be, little disagreements that come up with everybody stuck in home for a long time. So every family really needs to evaluate what they really want to focus on and what's going to support their kids and themselves through this process. Yeah, so on the Changing Perspectives website, which is changingperspectivesnow.org, we just created what we're calling our distance learning resource page. So if you go on that page, we actually have, I think, about 20 activities that are divided up into the competencies for social emotional learning. So we have activities there, we have tips and tricks for parents, we have tips and tricks for educators, we have links out to other resources. And I would also note that that's an evolving page. So we're trying to add new resources to that page every week.